Hello, hello. This is Jesse here, and if you are watching this, this is for DART135F, Intro to Digital Painting. This is going to be a tutorial on how to do the first exercise. Unfortunately, the recording I had originally for this was corrupted, so here I am making a tutorial on hopefully this tutorial will help more people after this class too. But today's goal is we are going to be going over how to put a mech inside of a scene like this and how to unify it with the lighting. All right, so you can see over here, like the mech is a part of the scene, and originally it was not. We are not going to add any mountains, but we are going to add the shadow and also add like grass over the legs over here. So I'll go ahead and get started. So you want to start off in Photoshop, and that is Photoshop will be the main program I use for this. And we're going to start off by just clicking and dragging both of these like files into Photoshop. Now, if you haven't done so yet, you want to always make sure, so let's go back and make sure that you extract the folder. And to do that, you want to right click it and just extract all. All right, so pretty easy. Once you've extracted it, it will make a new folder. Then you should be allowed to click and drag the images in. So just to let's see, just so we kind of keep everything consistent, I'm going to go ahead and drop this one in here. There we go, just like that. We are not going to adjust any of the sizing, so just keep the sizing the same. Okay, and what we're going to do is let's go ahead and choose a mech. I am going to grab the ship, and we're going to click and drag it to the tabs up here. So if you look at Photoshop, there's like this tab up here, like my mouse is on, right? We're going to click and drag it to that, and it should make a new tab. So once you have the tab loaded in, excuse me, once you have the tab kind of loaded in, this is what it should kind of look like. So we can go between these two tabs. So pretty easy. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab our lasso tool over here. And we can use either the lasso or the polygon lasso tool. And what I kind of want to do is I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to press Z for zoom and click to zoom in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very, very nicely use my stylus and just kind of like just what is it? Lasso the silhouette that we have here. So you're welcome to use other what is it? Selection tools such as the lasso tool over here. Excuse me. I'm gonna go ahead and actually let's grab the lasso tool. You see I can draw it out. You can even use the quick selection tool. The quick selection tool is a really neat tool. It should be in the magic wand area, and you just want to go to quick selection. And you can just basically add more selections. Makes it pretty simple. You can even make your cursor smaller by using the brackets. So really handy tool. Now it can also grab too much sometimes, so just be careful. Let's erase out of this. I tend to like to switch off between like different tools because it just kind of helps me with making sure that I get, I tackle every part efficiently. Like sometimes you're going to be using just like one tool, sometimes you're going to be using like multiple tools. So I recommend like master, or understand how to use as many tools as possible. That way you're not just, stuck with just one way of solving a problem. So go ahead and add and switch off. The quick selection tool will grab anything that's like the same tone. So it starts to mix in with any like values or temperatures that are similar to each other, such as this part in the back. So for this part, I'm going to use a lasso tool. I don't know what happened here. Oh, okay. It's supposed to look like that. These parts are a little bit more mechanical, so maybe we can go ahead and grab the polygonal lasso tool. There we go. Just tap, tap. And to close up a polygonal lasso tool, you can rather have the lasso meet back to where you started, or you can double tap. There we go. Double click if you're using a mouse. Let's actually use the lasso tool for that. Excellent. Okay, so make sure to double check all your parts. Make sure to grab every as much selection as you can. Okay. The next thing we're gonna do is copy and paste it. So the shortcut for copying and pasting is Control C, and then for pasting it's gonna be Control V. So C for cat, V for vendetta. All right. But you can also go up here to this part where it says edit, and you can also cut and copy from here. If you decide to cut, it will make an incision in your paper, kind of like this, which basically tells you that it has it cut. And what you can do is you can actually go back to edit and you can go ahead and paste it over here. So there we go. So now that we have this in our new file, okay, which is going to be this file, we're going to go ahead and make this bigger. Now to do that, we're going to go to the move tool. And what we can do is we can either show the transform tools up here and scale it bigger. So there's a little tick box on the top left that says show transform tools, or you could press Control T. To be honest, it doesn't really matter which one you want to do. We just got to make it bigger. So for me, I'm just going to press Control T. If you're on a Mac, it might be Command T. We're going to scale it bigger. About this big is pretty good. And then let's go ahead and start unifying some of the lights. Now, the first thing I'm going to do to unify the light is I'm going to go ahead and make a new layer, and we're going to set it on multiply. All right. Now, multiply is going to make anything we color darker. So, for example, this layer is now a multiply blending mode, right? Now, on in a normal blending mode, if I add red, you could see it covers it up. But on a multiply one, it's going to mix with the background. Okay, it's going to mix with whatever's under it and darken it. Those are the two effects it'll do: mix and darken. Okay, so with this being said, what we want to do is we actually want to add the shadow using multiply on this ship. All right. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to right click and then we're going to go to clipping mask. Okay. A clipping mask will allow us to basically just use this ship as a silhouette and mask so nothing will go outside of it. If I decide to release the clipping mask, it will show what is underneath it, just like this. All right. So let's go ahead and create the clipping mask again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete all the red. To do that, we can press Control A. We can press delete. You can see we have the selection lines around everything because Control A will select everything on the page. And we can press Control D to deselect. D for dog. So now that we're at the stage, we're going to go ahead and grab a very general brush. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my brush tab on the top left. You should see a number with the shape. And we're going to go ahead and choose our soft round pressure with opacity and flow. All right. With this brush, and it should be under your general brushes. I don't know why mine's under special effects. I think it got moved or something. Let's go ahead and just move them back in here. So we're going to go ahead and add a shadow using this one. Now you want to grab your stylus and you want to make sure to grab a little bit of the sky color. Now I would maybe grab it from this part right here. So just to kind of draw it out in red, maybe Oh, this is on a mask. Maybe like this part right here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to click on it, and it should be kind of like this like grayish light blue. Now, with this tone, I'm going to go ahead and add the shadows. And by the ways, if you are working in like another one of these images over here, you may want to change the light a little bit. Like for this one, I would say like you could probably still use a blue, maybe use the blues that we have over here, but you definitely want to push your lights like a little bit more yellow than this one over here. Like this one seems like a greener yellow light. This one is like a very warm golden sort of feel, I feel like. You can even tell like in the light in the background, the yellows in here are a little bit more warm, right? So if I was doing this one over here, what I want to do is we're going to go here. We're going to set this as multiply, okay? Now we're going to use that blue and we're going to give a big brush and we're going to go ahead and add the tone in the shadows. If you mess up, you can grab an eraser, set it at the same kind of brush, and then erase out the parts that you added too much shadow on. And notice how I changed my brush size to kind of match like the size of the area that I'm trying to get. I use a bigger brush when I also want to cover and transition things a little bit more. And let's also grab a little bit of green. So I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to tap this part right here. It's kind of a light yellow. Let's make it a little bit brighter. Let's go ahead and just add a little bit of these greens onto here. And if it's too much, grab more of the back again. So try to find that balance. A little bit of tightening up would be nice too, like right here, right here. But if you take a look at the shadow without the shadow, this is kind of how it looks now. So to move on to the next step, we're going to make another layer. We'll just grab this one on top. Let's go ahead and set this one with overlay. And let's also go ahead and right click this and make this a clipping mask. Okay. Now overlay is going to allow us to add light. Okay. So the way overlay kind of works is it mixes the color of whatever you choose with the color that's on top of it. Okay, but if it's lighter, it'll make it lighter. If it's darker, it'll make it darker. So if I grab this yellow and I use it on here, it's probably going to make most of these blue darker. I mean lighter. Okay, so just to kind of like show you all really quick, overlay, it's probably going to keep these like, what is it? The whites like really white though. That's what I'm guessing. So let's go ahead and test it out. Yeah, and you can see that like the blue's turning into green now, right? And it changes a lot of the color, as you could see, especially if you add more and more in one area. But for the most part, anything that's like a white or a black, it won't like change that too much. But we can use overlay kind of like as a mixing medium, I would say. And what I'll do is I'm going to grab yellow because that's the color of the sunlight that I'm thinking is hitting this. And I'm going to go ahead and push a little bit of yellow here. You can take out some too. Just like that. Add a little bit of yellow on some of these parts too if you want to add some like reflective tones. Something kind of like that. Perfect. And you can see how it looks when I turn it on and off. There we go. Again, make sure to manage your values. Doesn't have to be perfect for this assignment, but you want it to like make it feel like it's almost like photorealistic, you know? So once we're done with that, here's what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and copy some of the grass and like throw it on top of the legs. So it's pretty easy to do that. We're going to go back to the background layer here. We're going to go ahead and grab our lasso tool. All right, and we're going to go ahead and lasso some of these parts. Now, if I lasso them and I copy and paste them, so we'll go ahead and edit, copy, edit, paste. It's going to be very hard edged. So What I want to do is I want to maybe erase out some of the edges, kind of like this, because just to kind of show y'all, I'm going to move this all the way to the top. You can click and drag your layer to do that. If I move it here, look at how the bottom blends in, but the top doesn't, right? So if I grab an eraser and I do that, you see it starts to blend all those parts in. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. Now, you can also complete this by going back to your lasso and changing the feather on the top left to a number. I like to use the number 10. I feel like that's a nice softness, but feather will add softness to your selection. So if I select this time and I copy and paste it, it should actually be able to be soft enough to feel like it's, there we go, covering up the legs. So we can do that. And let's actually duplicate this layer. I'm going to duplicate it by clicking and dragging it to the new layer. It'll make it exact same layer. We can move this over here. There we go. So that's looking good. Now, the final part of this assignment is we're going to go ahead and move this down just a little bit. It's a little too high. We're gonna go ahead and add a shadow. So that's really easily done. So to add a shadow, we're going to go ahead and make a new layer. And you want this to be on the very top. Now, the new layer, we're going to add a multiply. Okay, so with the multiply, I'm going to go ahead and grab some of the sky color first, because like that's kind of the color I feel like would reflect into the shadows. So the thing is, like, we'll talk about color in class and stuff, but in general, like I do want my shadows to be a little bit cooler, and I want to keep it consistent with the rest of the shadows on the mech too. So we're going to make the cast shadows cool too. So I'm going to grab the soft brush that we had. Don't forget, don't get a blue that's too dark, and start off kind of like this. Okay, now we're going to erase some of the parts on the legs. You got to be careful not to make like an aura or anything like that. We're going to keep this like still pretty rough. And we're going to erase out some of the parts that I would say, like, the closer a cast shadow is to something, the darker it's going to look. So we can grab some darker greens and push parts of the legs over here a little bit more. I think that's fine. But once we go out to what is it? The parts that are further away, we don't want to go like as dark. So like over here, for example, we can maybe push that. And nothing should be like super, super, super dark either. That's also another thing I would be careful of. You want to have like it's not going to be pitch black is what I'm saying. So something kind of like this like works. Once you do have all of these steps completed, that is all you need to do for this assignment. All right. Other than that though, here's what we're going to do. All right, is I am going to show you all how to save this, okay? And that way, like, the naming convention is there. So once you're there, just go to Save As, all right? Make sure to save it. You can save it onto your cloud if you want, but make sure to save it. I'm just going to save this in my downloads, and let's put it in here. Okay, so a naming convention is going to be your name. So my name is Jesse Pack, okay? And just put week 1 _ Mech, or you can use space too, that's fine. I actually really like what is it, these minuses. I feel like they make them really really nice. So maybe something kind of like this. It's back week 1 mech exercise. Okay, so once you have this, go ahead and save that as a PSD file. All right, so we can go ahead and save, press OK. And I'll also like everyone to save a JPEG. So you're going to go to File and then save a copy right here. Save on your computer. And save a JPEG of this too. But other than that, that's how you do the assignment, everyone. If you do have any questions, let me know. For those of y'all who are in this current semester, I apologize for the corruption of, what is it, our class. But for all of the syllabus stuff and all of the stuff we went over on the PowerPoint intro, feel free to check on Canvas and all that info will be there. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped out. And other than that, let me know if y'all have any questions.